Good. Can you talk what? No, you're fine. Introducing next, she is sweet like ice cream because she is Jen Cone, the voice of Farrah.
Oh, wow.
And I think I might have here. I'll just wash my hands. Can I get some of that Purell after this? Yeah, please. Introducing next, though, he's part of a balanced breakfast now. Please welcome Johnny Cruz, the voice of Lucio!
What's up, guys?
Do you want some more Purell?
I love you. What? Is someone coming to sit here?
That's the
Wow.
breast area?
Is it? Well, anyway.
You're my man.
How's everybody doing? Happy to be here with you.
I brought some Purell.
Oh, yeah.
Sharing. The fan.
This for the next hour. ASMR.
ASMR with hand lotion. I'm down for that. So, first off, let me go ahead and welcome you guys to SAC Anime. Hope you guys have been having fun so far with your breakfast. And you got your name. He's got his name, ladies and gentlemen! Yes! It's official, you're you. Am I? So, let's go ahead and start this off. Overwatch has been growing each and every year. It's been insane, right? Just this past year, the announcement, of course, with the Nerf guns, there is the Legos, and of course now, as part of a balanced breakfast, you got Lucy O's.
That's amazing. All the merchandise. To be edible is great. And it was my dream. But has anybody gotten any yet? We got a few people. Guys, I have literally 4 boxes for the first 4 people at my table. There we go. There it is. Oh, that's it.
For you guys who've gotten them, how are they?
They're delicious.
Oh yeah?
Great.
No. This guy was like, no. They're delicious.
You're great. You're great.
I've personally enjoyed them. I have my box in my room, and I had it for breakfast.
Oh, great. You know what? Does anybody like Lucky Charms? Yeah, they're like the marshmallows of Lucky Charms, just all marshmallows.
Wow.
Some little O's. This guy, I like this guy.
So with the continuous growth of Overwatch, I gotta ask, how does it feel? Does it ever feel overwhelming for any of you? Want to go down the road here?
Are we starting on my end?
Yeah, we can start here.
Sure. Yes, totally overwhelming. It's amazing. I mean, it's such an honor to get to meet everyone and to meet all these people who are invested in the game and in our characters. And I mean, I had an Overwatch fan who did a cosplay of Farah but crossed with me and made a pair of my platform flame boots with duct tape on her own black boots. And did all these pictures, and I was just totally blown away. Like, these things happen, and it's been very overwhelming. It's been very exciting.
Yeah, it's super cool to see, and since I'm not a playable character, I get to kind of watch from the sidelines a little bit, so it's not as overwhelming for me, but just to see the success of the property and everything is super cool. Actually, the esports arena in Burbank is right down the street from my house. And I went there, and it was just, I don't know if any of you have been there, but it's crazy. It's like they had these screens. The entire, wall is just video screen. And when the teams come in, the whole thing just changes to their logo and their colors and everything. It's amazing. It's really, really fun. So if you're in the LA area, come check it out. It's super cool.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying this little ride. It just started for me in July, and my character came out. It's so much fun to see how many people are into this game and how many people all over the world are have these leagues and there's events in stadiums and stuff. It's huge. I never realized how big it was. You know, it's hard to fathom that, but I love it. Just interacting with you guys too is really neat. So thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
For me, I've been acting for 18 years and did a lot of stuff on camera. And never in a million years did I think I'd be up on a stage talking about a video game that I was in that everybody loved. Like, it never crossed my mind that that would be a path for me, and it's wild to see how this game has taken over in a way that just changed my perception about like interactive media and how that's going, and how much effect it can have on people who play based on the characters themselves and the avatars that people jump into. You know, people come up and be like, you know, I have 300 hours on Lucio. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But thank you, keep playing Lucio. And it's just like that much time spent and invested, I can see why. You know, sometimes you watch a season of a show that's like, you know, 12 hours, but you're paying 300 hours if you're master above that, you know? So it really just changed my whole world as well, to be appreciated for, you know, my art or my craft in this way. It's been amazing. You guys have been the most amazing, sweetest, adorable human beings I could ever ask for as a fan base, and I appreciate it. So it's amazing.
Well, thank you guys for all the hard work you put into it. Now, one of the things I think that truly is amazing is the fan base, how it is with you guys. And, you know, Rolling Stones dubbed you guys the Beatles of voice acting.
Oh, jeez.
And that was a big ordeal because, you know, usually in the voice acting scene so much, you know, when you think of voice actors, you think of people like Billy West, you know, you think of Charles Martinet, who was also here this weekend. But you guys have really stepped out to where you guys are going to a lot of conventions and you're building a pipe, especially events like BlizzCon, for example. So, with that being said, do you feel that, how does it feel to be, when you see like a fan, for example, coming over here, like, yeah, people are going to probably cosplay later as well, where you're seeing them dressed as their character. Does it ever like, oh my God, like that's me?
Starting with you, Johnny.
Let's start with me. I think it's, since the beginning, it's been like, whoa, like, this is really affecting people to a degree where, yeah, I mean, you always wish, as an actor, that your art will affect people in the way in which they love it, and they like it, and they want to talk to you about it, they want to, discuss myth and lore about the whole project, which we had know zero, so don't ask. They don't tell us anything. But, yeah, I think just the whole, all of it has been so, really? You know what I mean? This happened? What? I don't know. I don't know if that answers any question, but that's what I feel like. Like, yeah.
I got to see it. BlizzCon. Now, BlizzCon was my second convention, so it was like LA Comic Con, and then BlizzCon's like this huge thing with like tens of thousands of people. And I saw this office chair rolling around outside with Wrecking Ball attached to it, and like a hamster on the head. It was just like, people are going out of their way. They love this character and this universe so much. They're taking so much time, hours, to create pretty awesome cosplay things on here. So, and by the way, I don't know if any of you have a man with a child in your life, but if any fathers or sons or brothers have a kid and they want to dress up as Wrecking Ball and put the kid on their shoulders as the hamster, as Hammond, that would be pretty cool to see.
Sounds very dangerous. I like it.
Not officially approved by the Parental Association.
This is actually my first con ever. I've never been to a con. I've never even been to a con as like a person. Like I've never even walked, you know. So this is so amazing. Like I was in the hotel going up to get my pens for my room, and this girl walks in the elevator with literally like these white tentacles like flowing all around. Like, how do you even do this? She's like, oh yeah, I made this last night. And it's crazy to me. Like, you guys are so talented, and the whole cosplay thing, like, it freaks me out in the best way possible. It's so fun. It's so amazing. And also seeing you're all so young. Like, I remember this is reminding me of what it was like to be young and happy at some point and have energy. But I love this cosplay thing, and the fact that you guys are so passionate about the games is really rewarding. I would love to see somebody dress up as Dr. Harold Winston and sit them down and ask them, what is your deal? Like, who's gonna go, yeah, I'm gonna dress up as Dr. Harold Winston and go around with a hamster and a little monkey ape? I don't know. It could be fun. They go, oh, it's just, white lab coat and glasses. It's a pretty easy one. But yeah, that would be a very strange person. I'd like to talk to them.
My first con was BlizzCon in 2017, and I was completely unprepared and totally blown away. I walked into the lobby on the Friday night, the lobby of the hotel, and there were a couple of thousand people screaming and partying, and all these people knew what I looked like, and I was totally unprepared. Like, Jade Coach! I'm like, oh, I had no idea. And then actually walking around during the con and seeing all the energy was mind-blowing, and seeing all the people in the cosplay. I got to see Jackie Kraft, who's a great cosplayer who did a Mecha Queen Farah that made my mind explode. And then the biggest highlight was I got to go to the grand finals at the Barclays Center in New York for Overwatch League. And if any of you were there, it was about 13,000 people. It was a sold-out Barclays Center. And everyone had on these flashing bracelets, and it was another case of me being completely unprepared. I went out to a side seat and saw a sold-out stadium of people all screaming and bracelets flashing, and DJ Khaled was performing, and I was like, holy crap, what has happened in my life? It was really wild. So thank you all, and it's really thanks to all of you guys. I mean, that's why all of this has happened, that's why all of this has taken off, so thank you all for this outrageous ride.
Thank you for answering those questions. We're going to go ahead and start going to the Q&A. I got one special question for you guys, but we'll save it for when we're done here. So let's go ahead and bring up the first, yes?
Wow.
Scary.
A little bit.
Oh man.
Alright, so the other voice actors from the Overwatch group, I've been coming around a couple of years, so I've already asked this question to them, so I'll ask it to you as newcomers. If you were to ever step down as a voice actor for any given reason, and you got to choose the one person to take up the torch, who would you choose?
So if we were to step down as the voice actor, never going to happen, who would we choose? They made this list of if Overwatch turned into a live action movie, who would they pick? And I was scrolling through and I was like, oh man, who they pick for Lucio? And they chose Donald Glover. And I was like, I dig it. I dig it. I'll allow it.
This is Lucio Wolf.
Well, if I'm lucky enough to live into my 90s, I hope to still be working. This is a nice job to have. Who would play me? Wow. Who would take over Wrecking Ball? Probably, gotta be a young person, right? That can take over it.
Alexa.
I think you should have your nephew, Marion, take over.
Hey, maybe my nephew, Mary.
Yeah.
Well, why not? He's a gamer, he's an avid gamer. Keep it in the family.
Let's see. If you could be a little older, Dr. Harold Winston, I don't know, Colin Firth. He seems pretty harmless.
Perfect.
Kind of intellectual. If it were somebody more, a younger person, maybe Ryan Felipe or somebody, like younger, my standards. He's like your dad. Somebody like that, yeah. Oh, Ben Affleck would be good. I mean, younger Ben Affleck. His head is kind of shaped the same as Dr. Winston. I'm going with Ben Affleck, yeah.
So it would be a toss-up because my son does this incredibly snarky imitation of me doing Farah, but he would be amazing. He's 10. He would be completely awesome. So it would be a toss-up between him and Gal Gadot. She would be awesome as Farah, wouldn't she? Yeah.
I
So
think
between the two of them.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. That was fun.
Go ahead and come on up.
What's up?
I have a question for the person for Jonathan. How do you do the voice for Wrecking Ball? Do you do both the hamster and the mech, or do you just do the mech?
I do the Mac. D. Bradley Baker is the hamster. He's a very amazing creature. Voice. Not nearly as good. Yeah. I do the mechanics. Yeah. Sure.
D. Bradley Baker, incidentally, is young Winston as well, the little monkey pup.
Oh, wow.
He is.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
He
He's
kinda is.
amazing.
Yeah.
Go ahead and come up.
I like this silent walk.
OMG.
Silently walking to the mic.
You can tilt
Yeah, you
You can adjust it.
I think they want to hear your question too.
Yeah.
Oh, you can just
Take it off and put it back on.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
Now
so
rap.
I know everybody's gonna hate me for this, but I've never played Overwatch. But I've watched some YouTubers play it. But my question is, who's your favorite character?
Aside from our own.
Yeah, I mean.
No, you can choose your own.
Oh, wow. I mean, well, I'll give you this. I really enjoy myself a lot as a person. But you know, I kind of like Junkrat a lot because he's out of his mind, and so am I. That's why.
That's what I would say too. Junkrat all the way. Farah and Junkrat.
Everyone's a little crazy.
Yeah, I concur.
I like Wrecking Ball. But I like him a lot, but I would also say Winston is pretty cool. I like that intelligent ape thing going on there. It's kind of neat.
That's it.
Thank you.
Wait, did you say?
I did. I agree with you.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead and come on up.
My question is for all the heroes. With Mimic being or Echo being a future character, way in the future, whatever, and you guys could choose new ultimates. With Mimic, with Echo being a new character, what would your ultimates be?
So mimic Echo, like
Well, a lot of people are speculating that Echo is going to have the power
Right.
to mimic,
to mimic other people's.
like ultimates.
Gosh,
So if you
gosh,
choose new ultimates, what would it be?
Let's see, what would I like? You know, I really like some floating dragons, guys, on rollerblades. So that would be mine.
I have a vision of a really cool ultimate. Almost like, imagine if he just was like a, just left, he kind of levels the playing field now, but in a way that's like a ring of death. You know, like just like that. I think that'd be cool. Some blue light, really cool blue light, just demolishing everything.
What the heck is an ultimate?
It's his first. It's his first. Your ult is like your line that you say when you like wreak havoc, when you're doing your big thing.
Oh,
Like, I have the best ult of all, so it's hard to top my ult.
I guess mine would be my death scream as I'm ripped apart by rebel apes. Not really a power, it's more just sort of sad and it's got some humor, but that would be me.
Mom and I are looking for a new therapist. That would be the new ult. Yeah.
You know, Greg, I got to point out. I think for you, man, you'd have like one of the most powerful ones. I mean, you're basically the father of Winston and Hammond, so you're just like, hey, go do the work.
That's right. They have to listen to me.
Mastermind.
I'm gonna go listen to my Spotify. All right, go ahead and come on up.
Ooh, a two-part question.
Silently walking.
Love your highlights.
Oh.
Overwatch, when you're escorting the payload, what do you think is inside?
Ooh,
Wow.
what's inside the payload?
Hot dogs, definitely. I'm from Chicago, it's hot dogs.
Well, I think definitely in my life, the payloads I'm after all have to do with my tummy. So all the favorite things I would love to eat, which is pizza, ice cream, burritos, sushi, all just, that's the payload.
Do you not like hot dogs?
No, man.
Wow. You got real cold up here. I don't know if I can do this.
I mean, I like sausages.
Sausages.
Who likes sausages?
I love sausages. I do.
Thank you.
And hot
That
dogs.
response.
So payload's hot dogs.
Shoes. The payload is all shoes. No question.
I think it's more of sunflower seeds, small grains, lettuce, whatever Hammond's looking for, because he's in control.
You need to move out of LA, dude.
I think Lucio's.
And of course, Lucy. Oh! Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great question.
Yeah.
Hey, hello everybody. So this question will be for each of you. Has there ever been a time where you have to change a line in your script?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
They rewrite stuff sometimes a day of, and they tell me to cross it out. Try that.
Yeah. A lot of moments where it comes out differently for Lucio in the way than it is on the paper, because it's a little less. I don't know. It's much more when I'm in the energy. Whatever word pops out, if it's not the exact word, they're always like, "Great,
Yeah.
wonderful." And then a little bit of improvs happened. My beatboxing one, that was me just beatboxing on the mic. And they were like, "We'll take it." And I was like, "Great, I'm a musician now." So,
And sometimes you'll get so into the character that you're doing your thing in your mode, and then you just say the line almost organically, like you kind of thought it should be said, and they might be like, "Oh, sorry, I said it wrong." Like, no, actually, like do the way you just did. That's good. Maybe it works even better because you're coming from the frame of mind of the character. Sometimes, as you get into it, that happens sometimes.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Before we get to the next one, so question I have for all of you is, it's one of my favorite questions to ask. Do you have any interesting stories from recording in the booth? I could start with you, Jen, if you want.
Do I have any interest? Well, only for Overwatch or in general?
In general, it can be in general.
One of my favorite jobs I ever had to do, it was the day before I had my son. So I was enormously pregnant. I was like humongously pregnant, like 40 plus weeks. And I was in a booth, it was for a Dairy Queen commercial, and it involved that I had to sound like I was in a closet eating crackers, and then when someone opened the door, I had to scream, "Come out!" But I had a mouthful of crackers, so I had to sit and stuff crackers in my mouth and not choke and not burst out laughing, and then like, "Come on!" with the spring. And I couldn't get over that this was my final VO job without child. It was a crazy gig. That was the weirdest, funniest, strangest one ever.
I've started, the people that I work for are sort of having to get used to this one, but I've started working out in the booth because there's no time to exercise in my life. And so in the middle of last year, I said I'm gonna be able to touch my toes by the end of the year. Actually, I had targeted the end of 2019, but I was able to do it by the end of last year. Stretching works, everyone. But the weird thing, it's not so weird for me, but the people I work with, they would be, we would do a line, and all of a sudden they would look in the booth, and I wasn't there anymore. Because I was doing push-ups on the floor, and I would hear them go, "Did he leave?" And I'd be like, no, I'm still here. Either that, or they would hear this sound of just sort of shuffling, and they're like, what is he doing in there? And so that's, but it really works, and I'm honestly in way better shape than I used to be because I'm in between takes, I'm just stretching, or like dropping down and doing push-ups or core stuff or whatever, so that's the booth is my gym now.
This is a brilliant idea,
It
because
works.
you have that dead time that you sit and doodle
Totally.
and you wait and...
Or if they're like rewriting a line and they're like, oh, let's, you may be sitting there for 2 minutes with nothing to do. And normally we like check our phones and do our this and that. I'm just like, if I'm gonna live past a certain age, I gotta like get in better shape here because we just sit in the booth all day. It's not good for you. I mean, physically. So yeah, start a trend. Fit voice actors.
Well, let's see. I know Jay, I talked to you about one. I'll elaborate a little bit on that. I got to work on Robot Chicken a few times. And, Seth Green, who creates the show and also does some voices, he also directs many of the episodes. And he directed me. I was doing Bob Barker when he fought the Wesley Snipes, or what's his name, Snoop Dogg's character from Blade. But anyway, the way he directs is pretty interesting because at their studio, there's a window outside, in front of the booth outside, so you can see them, it's soundproof. So I see Seth, and I'm like, trying to get into the voice, and doing the lines, and he's like this, he's like... like I get to, he's like driving me with his facial expression. Okay, I'm off, I'm going off, I'm back on track. He's driving me, got it. It was pretty cool. So he was a very effective director without using many words. He just kind of like, you could tell, he was feeling it out. It was neat. And then more recently, I worked on it, and then it's coming out in February. It's a pretty cool project called, and I got to do, I'm playing a creature in there, and when they played me the demo of it, when I auditioned for it, it was very harmonic. It was basically a voice, like, hello, like this type of thing. But it was harmonic, a lot of harmonics that were used to make it sound like it was multi-layered. So what I was able to do for them is we experimented with it, and I basically said, instead of layering what I'm doing, why don't I create the additional layers? So I was like, I'll make up a line. The universe will be ours, there's nothing you can do. And then I'd be like, another part. The universe will be ours, there's nothing you can do. And then, the universe will be ours, there's nothing you can do. So they can layer all three of those and make it sound like a real alien type thing. And for that project, so something like that was kind of neat.
Amazing voice, this guy. So I was doing a project for Amazon. It was, I could actually say it's Sticky and Dirty. It's online if you got kids, watch it. And I was in there with Darren DePaul, who, this was before Overwatch, and we had met on this project. And there was one other guy in the booth with us, and we were kind of all three reading. And both of them incredible voice actors. And we did a take, and then Darren leans over as giddy as he could be, and he's like, excuse me, can I have a picture? And I was like, what is he doing? Listen to this guy. And then he like takes a picture with them, and they're all canoodling. Then we go back through it, and we're doing the scene, and then afterwards, which this says a lot about me as a person, just oblivious. I was talking to Darren, and I was like, yeah, man, who was that guy? And he was like, that was Tom Kenny, voice of SpongeBob. And I was like, well, that was my experience with Tom Kenny. So, anyway.
Thank you for sharing those stories. I love always hearing the stories about the booth and everything. It's probably my favorite ones to ask. And we can go ahead and go on with the Q&A. Go ahead and come up next. Wow. Oh.
You look great.
Fire in the hell!
My question is, the most annoying character that you're versing against?
That in Overwatch that we go up against?
Most annoying.
That was a junk right?
Yeah, only 50.
Another Lucio on Ilios. I'm a dirty boy. Sneaky. But also Symmetra. Yeah, that's it for me.
I actually can't play first-person shooters because I get motion sick. So I don't even know. I know it's so sad, right? Someday, take drugs.
No, he didn't mean that. Totally didn't mean that.
Don't do drugs.
None.
I meant Dramamine. To be clear, I don't advocate you guys taking drugs.
He means like the Flintstone vitamin pills.
Right. Now, obviously you're adorable, but come on. Yeah, you look fantastic. Yeah.
Well, probably when someone does another team playing Wrecking Ball against me, that's gonna be, because then you're kind of competing, like, it's like a direct two balls colliding. Oh my God. When two balls collide.
I'm not worried about anything I say anymore.
This is live. Oh, thank you. Love your
You look amazing.
Amazing.
Wait, you didn't want to know my answer?
Yes. Go, Jake.
I have a problem with anyone who I jump into quick play with and takes Ash away from me. Go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks so much for coming. Really appreciate it. My question is, a lot of fans are wondering if any of you guys would be interested in doing an Overwatch animated series or movies. Would that be something you guys would be interested in, or which one would you guys prefer?
Hell yeah. I've seen. You wanna go first? Okay. I've seen the little cinematics they do, and they look like Pixar movies, like little miniature Pixar films. I'm like, are they going to do a major motion picture? Because they could, but it'd be amazing. Sign me up. If you hear about one, let me know.
I would love to, because I would actually then get to be killed by the apes and actually get to play that scene. All I know is that I was killed by apes, but I never got to actually experience it. So if they did, hopefully if they did an animated movie, I could get killed by apes, which would be awesome.
Firm, yes. Firm, absolutely. I'm still waiting for my short. I want my animatic, and I'm hoping that they'll do it with Anna and Farah together, so we could do a 2-for-1. That seems like that would make the most sense, but yes, absolutely.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good, man. No, absolutely. That'd be amazing. Especially if it's centered around Lucy. You know what I mean? Yeah, thanks, man.
Would you guys prefer a movie or the show?
I think a show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Recurring job, yeah.
Yeah, recurring. Thinking about my future, a show would be great. Wow, zinger! Got him. Hey.
All right.
Welcome.
Welcome. It's an honor to be here. My question is that if Blizzard decides to do their own anime, would you guys consider to be a voice actor for heroes in it?
Nah, I'm good. No, I'm kidding. Of course. Like, these questions are absolute yeses.
Yeah, I think yes.
Yeah, I got to do an anime for a boop that's coming out. I stole this joke. And I really loved it. I can't wait till it comes out. So if any type of thing that Blizzard's doing on an animation level, I'd love to be involved. So, yeah.
Ditto on that. I mean, it's, of course, I mean, we're voice actors. This is what we chose to do, and if we can be a part of that, bring this universe to the different screens and different formats, absolutely. Anime would be great. I love it.
Plus, it would be really cool to hear the Overwatch characters do these standard anime grunts. Because we'd have to do it in anime style, you know, like Winston would be mucking around and I'd
go. Medium effort.
Hey, Winston, what's the big idea, huh?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, check you out.
Please ignore my brother. He's very late.
No, I like how this is his moment.
Ignore
And he uses it. Love each other, guys. Believe me.
Your brother is ignored.
What do you think your life would be if you never voice acted your characters?
If you never voice acted your characters, what would your life be? I kind of feel like I'd be hanging out in Vegas in the alley behind Fatburger.
It's a good alley.
And just drinking a lot of soda and asking people to do magic tricks.
Nothing but crickets.
That was amazing.
I
was like, where is that coming from? Did anybody else?
It would be very quiet.
Thankfully, Blizzard saved me from that fate. That's a sad picture.
I would have a lot fewer Delta Sky miles, that's for sure. My life before this happened was pretty good. I mean, this was an unexpected thing that this happened with this game. So, and I've done a bunch of other games, so I would still be in New York, I would still be doing voiceovers, I would be getting together fashion reports, I would be taking my kid to school in the morning, what else? It'd be pretty good. It'd be pretty good. I would have traveled less though.
Actually, sorry, I'm going to answer that question seriously because I just thought
I like
actually
your
serious
answer.
answer.
That was better.
I actually feel like Overwatch, it was sort of one of the first things that I did that really kind of put me on the map, and I really believe that helped fuel the rest of my career, because then other studios would, when they were considering hiring me for something, they would say, oh, well, he did Overwatch, he can't be totally useless, And so I think it really did, even though, it's a background character that I do, it really set me up, I think, for future work, and for that I'm super grateful to Blizzard for having me.
That's what I'd be doing at home. What should I do? I think the process for me would always be to continue doing, right? It's like, do the auditions, create. I think in some way, at some point, if this didn't happen, something else would, right? And so I think I would have still been on that same path of creating and doing and excelling and continuing to be better at my craft, and I think something else might have done something else, or nothing at all. So, but yeah, I probably just the same shit.
Wow.
Seriously, it wouldn't just be crickets. This is what I feel I was born to do, and I've loved doing this for so many years. But definitely this game, like you said, it really puts you on the map a lot more. And my agent was like, how's your passport? I'm like, I just got a new one. Good, you're gonna need it. And I'm like, whoa. But it's a pretty huge thing, so definitely much better because of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Love
you.
your brother.
Megan.
Love him.
Go ahead.
Hi guys, so my question is, if you guys could pick a skin or a costume for your characters, what would you pick?
It's like our favorite skin?
Or no, just one thing you want to make for your own character.
Oh, well, I've been dying for them. I even asked about it. I want them to make a Farah flame skin, like a flame, some sort of, I think that would be completely awesome. So, and I asked, and because I wore a pair of boots originally to BlizzCon and to several others, I got a bunch of fan art that looked like it, and so I was like, can we do this? I don't know if we can do this. So, we'll see, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Well, first I'd love them to make Dr. Harold Winston a playable character. And then at that point, since he's so straight-laced and kind of nice and gentle, it'd be cool if he had like a total alternative lifestyle. And he had like a skin where he was like into like vampire parties or something. And you could just dress him up and be like, what? And then it would be a fun, like different sort of darker Harold Winston we could do, voice-wise. That'd be super weird, but it'd be fun.
I would probably say if there was any way to cross two universes, if they could have like a BE9 or, that's the evil one, the evil BB-8 is BE9, something like that, right? Him or like Optimus Prime or Megatron skin, just kind of combining the robot worlds, kind of neat.
Roller skates and tiny little booty shorts. We need it. We need it, guys. It needs to happen.
Well, thank you guys.
love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, come on up.
Hey, so I know you also, thank you.
Hi, thanks.
Thank you.
I know you touched upon the Overwatch League and everything else. So if any of you do watch the Overwatch League, do you have a favorite team or by extension player?
I'm partial to NYXL, just because of course, but there have been so many, I mean, I love watching all the teams play, it's amazing, but I'm definitely partial to NYXL.
I gotta support Seoul, Korea, just, you know, Korean pride and all that. But the weird thing was, the match I went to, it was Korea versus the New York team, and all the New Yorkers were Koreans too, so I was... I was a little confused as to how to root, so I just sort of cheered for whatever happened on the screen.
I gotta say the New York League. That's where I'm from. That's where I've been. So yeah, New York for me.
Three of us.
I would have to say either Houston or Dallas, because I'm from Texas. But then I think, was it Philly? Philly invited me to a barbecue and I'm like, I like you guys. And that did happen. So yeah.
But I'm really excited about Paris. That's it. I'm really excited about that. That's awesome. Big Franco fan.
I've never watched Overwatch League. I don't know about that. I don't have a team.
What's your team?
Excelsior. I'm sorry, that's a shock. I still love you.
Thank you. Oh, no, yeah, nice.
He's back with a vengeance.
My question is more directed to Johnny. Now, how would you feel if your character, Sombra or Reaper, had an updated voice line that involved the word Despacito?
My friends have a joke at my house where they tell Alexa to play Despacito, and it is the bane of my existence, and I don't like it at all. So I wouldn't like it. You hit the mark. It's funny, I don't like Despacito. Yeah.
I love that song.
I know, and everybody does. See, I can use the Spanish because that was the original.
No, I started listening to Luis Fonsi on Apple Music. That dude's incredible, man.
No, yeah, it is good music.
No, I'm serious.
It is.
You haven't listened to it.
Look, we're talking reggaeton Puerto Rico, right? That's where I'm from. I know a thing or two. A little bit, actually.
All right.
Anyway. Yeah, come on up. You want to make that shirt? How much?
More than 200.
I love it. I like it.
So I got a question for you, Johnny. So is there any updates on Lucio's lore? Are they going to add anything about him and Vishkar with his father? And are they going to add a character that counteracts Lucio, as in like somebody that rebels against his actions?
You know, I have a very big mouth, so Blizzard has told me 0. But you know, it's funny because these lines came out about Vishkar, you know, and Symmetra and a couple things about my dad fairly, like, I don't know, a couple months ago, right? Or yeah, and I recorded that at the very beginning, like 2 years ago. And I thought they were in game already. And so I was like, yeah, blah, 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 about this and Vishkar and my dad. And then people were like, what are you talking about? I was like, So it's interesting to think what I know and what I could actually say, because I actually don't know all the voice lines that are out. But I've recorded a bunch, and I could say absolutely nothing to you to satisfy that urge to know anything about Lucio, and I wish I could, but today, you're in luck. We brought a clip of the next. Absolutely nothing. I'm kidding. I don't have anything for you. That would have been awesome if I did.
Are you ever going to go to counteract you though?
I mean, I think right now where Lucio stands, everybody's counteracting him real nicely. Let's give him a buff, everybody. That's what I say. So
I have no problem against fighting anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think at some point it was Symmetra and Lucio that kind of like was a thing, but I don't know in gameplay how bad that was. Or
Beam used to follow him.
Huh?
Or Beam used to follow him across the stage.
Yeah, well, of course. But yeah.
Alright, it was an honor, man.
Thank you for the question.
Thanks, man.
I'm chill. Oh wow, man! Whoa, he runs!
Yeah,
he runs. That's so cool. Nice job. This is what we're talking about, man.
Wow.
His head came off.
It's very, very hot in this moment.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Well, you're running around. I saw you run in here. You're running over here. Slow down.
I'm trying to find all the friends, man. No, but what got you into voice acting, and what kept you here?
Wow.
I know.
These could be some long answers.
So probably like all of us, I would guess like all of us, did we all start as regular actors, as like regular straight stage film? You didn't?
No.
Okay. I did. And then, but I always did great accents, and I always did great character voices, and because I am dark and schnozzy, and when I was in college and then right out of college, I kept on getting character roles, and I would get aged up, or I would get another character, and I kept on doing these character-y voices. And I would have producers come after the show and say, you know, you'd really be great doing voiceovers, and invite me in, and I started doing auditions for voiceovers and loved it because it was really fun, and I could wear crazy clothes and it didn't matter, and nobody was looking, and it didn't matter what I looked like or how tall, how dark, how whatever. And I got a terrible, terrible first agent, and terrible, and then I got a better one, and then a better one, and then finally a good one, and then after a while, finally got to have a career, and it's been such a fun, cool, creative gig to do. In general, the voice acting scene, the community, is amazing and very supportive, and basically, if you are good enough to get into the room, then it's a free-for-all, anyone could win, so it's not competitive the way it could be, or not catty the way it could be in regular acting. And to be a voiceover actor, you have to be smart, and you have to be a good listener. So it ends up being a really smart, cool, diverse group. So all of those things have kept me doing it. It's creative and cool people, and I love to do it.
I was a computer programmer for 10 years.
Wow.
And that was interesting. And then I wanted to give my music career one more shot, so I started writing music for commercials and some like mobile video games and that kind of stuff. And I also came from the theater as a music director and a piano player. So I was music directing this very ill-fated musical called The Ten Commandments in Hollywood. It was called the Kodak Theater back then, with Val Kilmer playing Moses. You guys are too young to know who Val Kilmer is, but he was a very legendary actor at the time. So I ended up being the music director and the conductor of that show, and one of the other lead actors, incidentally, Adam Lambert was in the cast, lead singer of Queen, and Alison Porter, who won The Voice a few seasons ago. It was an amazing cast, but the show had some issues. Anyway, one of the other leads was a woman by the name of Nita Whitaker, and her husband was a guy by the name of Don LaFontaine. And he would, for those of you who don't know, he was the quintessential trailer voice back in, the last 3 decades. In a world, one man, blah, blah, blah. And so I met Don through that experience. I met his voiceover friends, and that's kind of how I learned that voiceover was a career. So I just started studying with a coach and got an agent, and there you go.
Yeah, my first acting was my 6th grade play, Oliver Twist. And I was in plays throughout, all through high school, and that's how I started on stage. But ever since I was a little kid, I was making noises and coming up with characters and stuff like that. And it's always been a lot of fun. And I always kind of knew I wanted to do this, even though I'm not just acting, but voice acting particularly. And yeah, I mean, I moved to Atlanta after graduating college in the mid-90s. And I got a career going there a little bit, because coming out here first was probably not the best move. I'm from New York originally. And got some portfolio stuff together there. I had an agent there, and then I came out here in 2001 to California, and things have been growing and growing, and little by little getting to where I need to be, and hopefully it keeps ascending. So,
similar story on my end. I started in the 4th grade. I auditioned for Sleepy Hollow to be Brom Bones. I didn't get the part. I got Mr. Van Tassel, which was one line, but it was a damn good one. Then from there, I think I chased acting because I was very terrible at sports, even though I wanted to be good at sports. Just didn't have the mentorship there. So just along the way, I just kept taking acting classes from that day on, and then I went to college in Dallas as well because I was just like, I'll start in a smaller market. Wasn't quite ready for LA, and out there I got my footing. Started small commercial stuff. Did some direct-to-DVD action movies because that was what was out there, and it just kind of gave me a base of just on-camera stuff. Then I moved to LA with kind of a resume, and so I got with agencies out here pretty quick. And one of them was like, would you like a voiceover agent meeting? And I was like, whatever. You know, I was just like, I was really focused on camera. And at the meeting, they decided to take me. And I was like, okay, cool. And then they would send me auditions, and for like 3 years, I booked 0 things. And they gave me auditions all the time, and I was like, what is happening? I'm terrible. Like, I don't understand. And I got really like, maybe I should really focus, because on camera was kind of a little bit of a different beast than behind the mic, so I kind of took some time to really find my voice behind the mic that was natural, sincere, and genuine, because I never ever thought in my history that I would be a voice actor, because I didn't think my voice was like anything to be, you know, screamed about. Like, when he just talks, you soothe and you melt, right? There's like,
oh, stop it.
That's right. Right? I didn't feel that like my voice was, but that was my own limited belief and thinking about myself until I really took a look at it. And I worked at it. I did some workshops. I started focusing on it and listening more. And then, you know, I started to book these small things. And then Overwatch came, and then a series came, and then more video game stuff. And then it just started to pile on where it overtook my acting career. And then I was just like, man, I love this. I love this because I can be anything at any time. You know, I could be a skating DJ, I could be a helicopter, which I played. Like, when in real life do you get to be a helicopter? You know what I mean? Like, that was really fun for me. The creativity was amazing, and you could just be behind a mic, and I don't have to worry how still my face is, and like, I could just be like, that's how I am. And I can be behind the mic doing that, so I love it, and it's a gift to be able to do it. So yeah.
Could I touch on something Jen said about the community?
Yeah.
So I started also, like, when I came out here, I did some on-camera commercial stuff here and there, and it's funny, like, when you're in the audition room at an on-camera commercial, and someone says good luck when you're about to go in for your audition, a lot of times it's like, good luck.
It's true.
But in voiceover, it's like, good luck. Yeah. And if you don't get it, see you on the next one. It's like, everyone, hey, congrats, you got it, congrats. It's actually a real nice community of people. It's a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
It's sincere, and everybody, I mean, it's really all for one for all. If you made it into the room, then you're worthy of being in the room, and everybody's cool that way.
Yeah.
But can I add to what you said, Johnny? So what people getting into voiceover don't know is that it usually takes most people years of auditioning before you book anything. And your agents do know that. Like, your agents, when they start sending you out, know that it could take you 3 years easily. That it just takes that much time. It's like that 10,000 hours thing, that you need to have 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. It takes you that long, or however long, to get relaxed enough behind a mic to sound genuine. It's a very strange phenomenon, but you have to be willing to stick with it and stick with years of feeling like, oh my God, I suck at this. And then eventually you start booking and you realize it was worth it. So.
I studied with a guy to help me be myself, because I did characters are easy. But like in commercials, you want to be the guy next door, be the friendly guy. It's like, okay, just talk, do normal voice. Why they want to hear that? You know, so it's weird, but you got to actually get into a different psyche to just be real and normal.
Yeah. And relaxed. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for being where you are at, and I wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great costume.
Thank you.
Hey.
actor. Just good? Okay. I wanted to ask, do you have any, good tips for the very first step you should take? Because I have no idea where to begin.
So what I would say, I was telling somebody this earlier, it's, you have to now make a decision, right? Is that you're going to do this. And it's a simple moment where you say, I want to do this, so I'm going to do that. So that first mental step you take leads you to search for information in which the next step is, right? And so for me, that was like, well, I want to do this. How do I get around other people? And you're asking right now, how do I do this? So the next thing is getting that piece of information, which I would say is get in a class, right? Get in a class where you meet other people. And through that meeting of those other people, you'll find your next step, which the next step would be like maybe you're in class, somebody's like, oh yeah, my voiceover agent, and then you're like asking questions, oh, who's your agent, or what? And they're like, oh, well, I think you're good, I can put in a referral for you, and you're like, okay. So then you go on a meeting, and then at that point, you're at a new step, right? Yeah. So all of our paths are going to be different, your path's going to be different, but the biggest thing is that you make the choice, and then you take the steps to get to that next step. Because I don't know, you could be out there and somebody's like, I like your hair, kid, being my voiceover thing. You never know. But it's putting yourself in that place and then just moving in that place and getting the information and going to the next step, right? So don't look at it overall as like, what can I do right now in this place where I am? And what is that for you? Get in the community where you get more information and move from there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do on your own before you even start a class. Even classes are crucial and important. Plus, individual instruction with somebody is also good to do. But I don't know how far along you are in your start to this, but you have a tape recorder or a digital recorder of some kind, your phone, the notes app, or the
Do you have a tape recorder? You just asked.
Do you have a Sony Walkman?
You have a 3/4-inch reel-to-reel. You have one of those, right?
We can fake being younger. We don't have to ask if somebody has a tape recorder.
No, but like record, use your voice notes app on the phone.
I live stream, so I have a pretty good mic set up on
You got mic stuff, so you've heard yourself, I'm going to say get used to hearing yourself. You've already got used to hearing yourself. Okay, you're past that point. Okay, well then, if you're looking to get started and possibly getting a demo going, what you want to practice is commercials. First thing is commercial. That's what an agent wants, that's what money's at first. So I recommend find some magazines about things you like. And in the magazines, if you look at the advertisements, strangely enough, they're written in such a way that they actually are really good for radio. So take some of those ads, record them, look how you sound. If you like some ads on television, DVR those, or on YouTube, look at those and write down the script in that. And just get used to the pacing of that. And then in the magazine ads that you take out, get used to that. And always go to a demo session after you've taken some classes with more options than you'll need. Because if you're gonna do a 60-second demo, you probably need about 5 or 6 things, have 12. This way you can weed out the stuff that's not as strong and you have a solid 6 that are great. Sounds about it?
I have very, very strong feelings on this topic, but this is just because this was my path. I really feel like if you want to play tennis professionally, if you want to, anything you want to do, you're going to have a coach, right? I feel like coaching in classes is where you need to start. I don't recommend that anybody you can do plenty of research and dorking around or whatever, but when you're ready to get serious about it, you got to get ready for the time and the financial investment that comes with getting a neutral third party to work with you and be able to tell you when you're ready for the game. Now, the reality is some people are more ready than others just right out the gate. The most valuable thing I feel like somebody who's interested in voiceover can do, beyond just sort of watching videos and or VOBuzzWeekly.com and listening to the interviews of every legendary voiceover person in the world, is make that commitment and look at it like you're learning martial arts, tennis, whatever. You have a coach, you're being taught. You've got somebody who's holding your hand along the way saying, now this is what you need to work on, this is what you need to work on. Eventually you'll be at a point where they say, I think you're ready. And then you can start getting out there, doing the workshops in LA or San Francisco or New York where people come, agents come, you pay a certain amount to read for them and work with them. I feel like that's a concrete path that a lot of people can get their head around. And that's what worked for me. So that's what I have to say about that.
You're getting such good advice from these men. You're getting great advice. The first thing that I would say is go take an acting class. Because to be a good voice actor, you really do have to be a good actor. Like you have to have that kind of, you gotta be in touch with yourself intuitively, that way. I definitely think having a coach or a class is a great move. You already have a setup, so you don't need to buy any kind of USB mic. I would, much like what John said, I would listen to commercials. I would DVR commercials and just start listening to ones that sound like you. What sounds like you? What voices sound like you? And then there's a website called voices.com, and on there are all of the agencies. And if you look, if you can figure out which are the bigger agencies, you can listen to people's reels on that, and you can listen for people who sound like you, and just listen to what those reels sound like, just so you have a sense of what kind of reel you need to have. You could even potentially, just to begin, before you start making an investment, put something together from those ads that you like. I mean, you've got that kind of technology. Like when I started, we didn't have this kind of technology available to us. We had to, off the bat, start spending money for these things. You could put this together. You could get a sense of this yourself. So you could put that together and go on a site like voice123.com and you have a setup, start auditioning and start knocking into your first 10,000 hours. And if you have friends who know how to animate, which, I mean, it seems like whenever I'm at these cons, there are animators everywhere. If you have a group of friends where people know how to animate and they need voices done, you can start putting together things. You can do projects where you do voices for characters, and then you have that, and you can have that on your website. Like someone can see that or hear that of you voicing characters. That stuff was not available when I started. If I could have walked in with like, I don't know, animated stuff that I had done voices for, that would have been invaluable. So those are ways to not break the bank in the very beginning and start.
Super cool. Thank you all very, very much. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to following up on several of those various, like leads or ideas.
Do that.
Good
See
luck.
you out there, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take care.
With that being said, I want to say thank you guys for your time today. Thank you for all coming to the panel today. Around 1:30, sorry, it's 1:30 now. They'll be heading over to the photo ops. So if you want to get a photo with them, you'll be able to get a chance to do that. And then they'll be heading back to the autograph hall where you can also get a photo and autograph over there with them. To close this off though, I usually like to do a little thing to close. This is a quote by the one who gets mauled by the apes the most. So Greg, would you mind ending us with that famous quote?
Always remember, never accept the world as it appears to be. Dare to see it for what it could be.
Give it up for the boys!